I am the chair dancing VIP. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And that's just how we get down on a Wednesday. Shout out to Andy for bringing in that Pretty Ricky to set it off. You know, we were having a conversation about it, and so Andy just jumped into the mix with it. I'm telling you, sometimes the 2000s, I think that they were one of the worst periods fashion-wise, but that music wasn't too bad. Music wasn't too bad. No. The early thing. Now, the 2010s to 2020s, we can have a conversation because I feel like the music during that era, yikes, not the best. But the fashions at least were better because, listen, look at yourself in 2003, 2004. You probably had a big belt on if you're a girl. You probably had like a statement necklace and a bunch of bangles with a little blazer jacket. I'm telling you, it's not hot. It's not hot. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we talk entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I'm Jill Munroe, your host, of course. I think Andy has some commentary on my apparel of the 2000s. You know, Andy, were you in a size 5X tall tee with some double XL pants sagging? You were, weren't you? You were.
I was in a 3X, extra long, Pro Club, or what was the other one? Is it Shaka Wear with the Gerbo jeans? What were the culture jeans? If y'all familiar with the Sloss and Swap Meet culture jeans,
and what they had, the ones that were like they were charging $1,000, but they looked like they came from the Swap Meet. Those red monkey jeans.
so you wasn't feeling the baggy clothes?
I think at the time I thought that it was a look, certainly.
Okay. What about the jersey dresses?
I did rock a jersey dress, maybe one, but not like that's not something that was gonna be a look. It was a look for something. I think I may have taken I should say this. At that time, I was working at Nike. So, you know, I was collecting my throwback jerseys because we were putting them out in big order. And so, yeah, I might have made a fashion statement with one. However, I still stand on that square. 2000 fashions were ugly, both men and women. It wasn't a good era for fashion. Andy disagrees.
So Sean John, Rockaware.
Sean John and Rockaware is late 90s.
That's 2000. FUBU was late 90s.
FUBU was late 90s too. FUBU was more like mid 90s. Was that LL Cool J Gap commercial where he was like for us by us? That was like 96, 97. And when did Fatty Girl come out? That was probably like 97.
No, that was 2001.
2001?
Yes.
Okay, but my point still stands. Go back and look. Look at Beyonce. Look at any of those Destiny Child things. Look at Christina Milian, even Sierra. I'm telling those big belts with the little blazers, like we were going. What is it called when you go to work? Casual. We're business casual. We were business casual. Jay-Z had you. Now I wasn't mad when Jay-Z made everybody switch up. Although they were still wearing 2X button-ups, but at least it was trying, you know, a little more clean cut. We all got to grow up sometime. At any rate, that is not what tonight's show is about. Just, you know, I just had to put it out there because, listen, we have so many topics and headlines tonight. Of course, it is Wednesday, so you know that means our Keep It Real friend, Trent the Artist, is in the building. Let me give you a rundown about what we're going to get into tonight. Of course, the VMAs were last night, and there were lots of performances, lots of little things that happened on the carpet. We're going to talk about them all. But one of the things that we're going to get into, did something happen with Megan Thee Stallion and Justin Timberlake? I don't know if you've seen the video. There's video floating around, and it looks like Megan was upset. We're hearing that is not the case, but it just makes you wonder, look how quickly a rumor can spread. And the thing is this, if you're into lip reading, and occasionally I am, you can see that what they said she said, this doesn't count, basically saying on them meeting each other, is what she said. But we'll get into her mannerisms because some people are saying she does too much, da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll talk about that. Of course, we're also going to get into, there's a new cast for Surreal Life Season 8. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Chris Brown's interview with Shannon Sharpe. He had some comments about what people think of him now and where he stands on that. And of course, that kind of ties into the VMAs last night because there's a little bit of reaction when Chris's name was called. We're also going to get into, in hour 2, there was a study that I came across. This report came out about 3 years ago, maybe, and it said that unattractive people overestimate their looks. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some of the theories behind that and see if it makes sense to you and if it's something you subscribe to. We're also going to talk about the WGA writer's strike. There's a couple of your favorite talk shows that are heading back to work. Sans writers. So we're going to get into that, let you know what's happening with that, who's been fired from a job for making that happen, what the response is and all of that, because of course, we like to keep you informed. And of course, in hour 3, we're going to talk about, I think I mentioned last week that O.J. Simpson is an NFL contributor to the podcast It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. So, of course, we're in the first week of the NFL season, and the Juice had a couple of comments about Monday night's game between the New York Jets and, was it the Bills? Yes, it was the Bills that they played. Obviously, that's O.J.'s old team, so we're going to get into that. And also, Sierra had an interview. And the interview itself was pretty interesting. But right now, we're going to talk about her reaction to asking about co-parenting. That should be fun, right? All of that and more. But here is your reminder. If you want to call in and participate in any of the conversation tonight, 800-920-1580. Download the app. You can leave us a message there. Take us with you on the go. Hit up the socials. KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. And if you're into YouTube and you want to see the whole visual picture of all of this, head over to YouTube. The chat is always bustling. Lots of conversation there. When we come forward, we'll get into the headlines. We'll have Trent the Artist here. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer Wet Jet works fast too. Swiffer Wet Jet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer Wet Jet and just spray, push, all clean.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And, you know, it's not Wednesday here on RSVP if we don't welcome our own personal VIP, our Keep It Real friend. Are you a relationship guru at this point?
I'm a lot of things.
Okay.
I'll be a lot of things. I'll be whatever you need me to be.
Okay.
Whenever you need me to be.
You are crazy. Wilded out. That is Trent Jackson, Trent the Artist, in the building for the hump day. So, of course, you know we got to get into these VMAs. So much happening. People were expecting a lot more drama. I don't know why they thought Nicki and Cardi and Meg and Lotto and Ice Spice would all be tussling backstage and what have you. I mean, come on, man. Let's be for real. Just for a second. You think MTV wants to lose their insurance?
You know, people are they're just going to say what they're going to say and be crazy. Just hearing all those names in one sentence, it was like, wow, what a powerful moment. Like, what a great photo op backstage. Wow, where's the picture?
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Never. And here's the thing. I am not one of those people that believes that it is nice if We Are the World it and Kumbaya and everybody can get along, but it's not always realistic, right?
Not at all.
And you can try. You can be. Now, I do believe in being cordial, right?
Yes.
But I think it's okay if, like, that's not your vibe and we don't have to, you know, make it look like it's something that it isn't. I would like an updated sort of ladies' night cut because there's so many women in hip-hop right now. I think that, you know, you think about, we really had two, right? We had the I Wanna Be Down remix with Brandy, which had Yo-Yo, Latifah, Light, like classic, you know, that they were doing their own spin on Flavor in Your Ear remix, right? And then we obviously had Ladies Night. I would like to see a new female posse cut that isn't just about the WAP. They could talk about a little bit of WAP. They could talk about some Get Money, but I would like to see, you know, something. I don't know. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it's about time for it. It's current. It's overdue. Is it what, 25, 30 years since the last thing that we got, like, with Ladies Night?
No, that wasn't that long ago. That was, what, 98?
25 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
26 years. Yeah.
Listen, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but yeah, it's time. It's overdue for it.
So
because we didn't have one in the 2000s.
I not that I can recall. I might be missing something.
I mean, I'm thinking Lady Marmalade, but that doesn't really count because it's not like rap.
That was the closest thing. But putting Little Kim on that, I feel like was an iconic and genius move.
It was
unexpected. Like,
who was the A&R person that said that?
You know, I just watched something about this recently, and it's left me.
Was it a hip-hop documentary on Netflix with the women?
Maybe.
I didn't finish watching all that.
Maybe. Because I just watched this story talking about that, you know?
I remember them performing that at the Grammys. And didn't Patti LaBelle come out with them?
At the Grammys or at the... they did. Was it the Grammys was it the VMAs?
They did both.
They did both? Okay.
But the Grammys had Patti LaBelle.
Okay. Because people thought at that time, which, makes sense, because sometimes I wonder about people and their ability to understand and apply context. But that's neither here nor there, that they felt like Missy was dissing Patti LaBelle when she said, what I look like, Patti LaBelle, just singing hooks. You're not going to just have me singing on this track or whatever. And people were like, why is she dissing Patti? And it's like, no, the point is that Missy is a rapper and a singer, so she's going to rap on the track too. It's no shade to Miss LaBelle.
Not at all.
But, people didn't understand hip-hop. The older generation just took it in a different direction. Oh, hip-hop. So
People are peopling.
So the situation with Meg and Justin Timberlake backstage. Did you see the video?
I did.
At first glance, did it look like she was just saying this doesn't count? And again, we know they both released a statement, a photo of them cheek to cheek saying it was nothing like that. We hope to, link up soon. But what did it look like to you?
It's interesting because I was having this conversation, and this is, I'm going to just say it. I was having this conversation about Justin Timberlake in my head just yesterday, not even having anything to do with the VMAs, because I was driving through Gary, and he came on the radio, and I was like, the first inclination was to cut it off because of everything that happened with him in the Super Bowl and all that. So I kind of feel bad about him because, we've been asked to move on from the situation, but we don't give him the rap that of moving on. We still don't like him for that. We haven't really forgiven him or redeemed him, in a sense. So upon first inclination, it was like, look at him getting chewed out again by some woman for doing something, scandalous and stupid. That was my first mind. So, and I just moved on from it because I was like, I'm just going to give this guy some grace because Janet has asked us to do so.
She has. And here's the thing, even if she really behind the scenes doesn't mess with him, I feel like.
No, she's genuinely moved on from it. And it's cool, talks to him and everything.
I mean, and I believe that, but I guess I was saying, even if she hadn't, at this point, her approach to it is so, I'm bigger.
Yeah.
I got mine.
Yeah.
What happened with that Man in the Woods album? What happened at your Super Bowl performance?
Yeah.
And not like that, because I can say that in the 2000s, I was an NSYNC and Justin Timberlake fan. I use the word fan loosely because
Correct.
I think that
I'm not going to that concert.
I went to a Justin Timberlake concert and for his first album, Justified, and it was great.
I'm sure it was.
It was really good.
I will stick to the CD. And it's not knocking him. I know he's a showman. I know that would be a excellent performance because it's a Timberland album. So it's Timberland's music, and you get the whole thing. But I'm not going to that concert.
Okay, I did, and I enjoyed myself. Yeah. I remember this is random
because Justifier was slamming.
It was.
I play that CD secretly all the time.
I remember when I worked at Virgin and we had a show at the House of Blues. I think it was I know that the Roots opened it because Questlove was the DJ, and he was doing the thing where he does all the throwback song, the original song, what the sample was from in the track or whatever. I can't remember. And Nika Costa. It was Nika Costa. That was an artist on Virgin. And Justin and JC were at the show, and they used to have the foundation room, the balcony at the old House of Blues on Sunset, and Jamie Foxx was there, and I remember we thought Jamie was wilding out because he, his personality, and he's a SAG, so he needs attention. And I don't know, there was another point to this story that I can no longer remember, so I'm gonna move on. But
because I'm like, yeah, we went to the House of Blues. Jamie Foxx, I had no idea that he was a Sagittarius.
You didn't?
I don't pay attention to
like that. I think he acts like a Sagittarius. But anyway, point is, I think that whatever point I was making there, I lost. But back to Justin and Megan, I think one, it's the stereotype that, black women, their face always looks like they're being aggressive or mean, yes, or whatever. Did she need to be smiling? It did look like, hey, what's going on there? But you kind of look at everybody else around, and everybody else looks cool. So it's like, oh, it must be cool. So I thought that was interesting. I think people were just looking for
a moment
because they thought that, again, I know why, but I don't know why. Do you really think MTV was going to have those people back there tussling and allow it to happen? No. So what did you think about, speaking of, NSYNC's performance? You mentioned, and we talked about this Monday night here, about Beyonce shouting out all the members of Destiny's Child, minus Farrah. We don't care. What I mentioned the other night is if you go to destiny'schild.com right now, it says it's the 25th anniversary of the first album.
It is.
And we are preparing something special or something like that. So I think a Destiny's Child reunion with all 5 or maybe a song or something is definitely on the way. What do you think?
I would love nothing more than that. I probably would cry like a white girl at a Michael Jackson concert.
So you were discussing the reunions of the 90s group. Obviously, NSYNC reunited the VMAs. Yeah. They're doing a song together for Trolls.
Sure.
You know, a couple years ago, Backstreet Boys got together and went back on tour, right? We saw... Who else from the 90s got back to get New Kids on the... Well, they're the 80s, but New Kids on the Block did that tour. Remember about 10 years ago, they had the single drop that Neo did for them?
Yes.
It was called Single.
Yes.
And it was fire.
They did. He had another song with them, too. That's Click, Click, Click. Somebody else did. That was somebody else's song, too.
It was his Single. He had his version of Single, and then they did a version of it.
It was 2 songs that they did like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm here for the night. Like, this is my thing. Really, with any groups, I don't mind. I like nostalgia at times. Music is music. So I don't mind seeing groups from yesteryear come back together and perform. You know, I think that it is a shame that it took so long for Black artists to be able to truly cash in on that gravy train like some of their white counterparts. You know?
I'm excited if Destiny's Child does get back together because that's long overdue. And the people that were...
I don't really care.
You don't care because it was like kind of not for you. You didn't... Yeah, you didn't...
What do you mean? How are you saying that?
It was like...
How is it not for me?
It was teeny bopper pop,
But here's the thing: the writing's on the wall. Great album.
Well,
I burned that down.
The first album was
that's the second album.
Yeah, the second album, but the first album was teeny bopper pop. It was
no.
The remix.
Both versions, the slow version and the fast version, were both bangers to me. Both videos hot. They looked good. I don't know what you're talking about. They both worked. I saw one of the first performances of the rebooted Destiny's Child. They tried to sneak that in during All-Star in
the rebooted one.
Oakland.
Which one was that?
When Michelle first joined and Farrah was in it, and they performed at the NBA Players Association after party, and Ed Lover was the host. And nobody said anything, like all the drama had happened, and they just had these 2 new members. And when they walked off stage after performing, Ed Lover was like, "Y'all tried to trick us with those 2 new girls and didn't say nothing. You thought we wasn't gonna notice?" And it was mad funny because it wasn't announced officially yet. Like, there was like, oh, there's rumblings, and, you know, the other 2 were leaving, Latavia and LaToya, but hadn't been officially announced. And I guess, obviously, they had probably already booked this performance.
It was just a shady deal. And it's time that those girls got some justice just by the way it happened. So
I think that they've gotten justice.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because, you know.
I think the only one that probably could have a gripe, to me, is Latavia.
Yeah.
LaToya has had a very, to me,
a successful
from where
run.
she was.
Yes, she sure did, and I have both. I'm a fan of hers. I have both of her albums. I just think that,
and you know,
they could have.
Bobby Newt, that was a guest a couple weeks ago, wrote a couple of tracks. I think they were Grammy nominated for one of Torn, maybe.
Yeah, I just think that it'll be nice for them to like reunite and kind of bring closure for them because, you know, to record a whole album and then have 2 other girls singing over your vocals, you know, that's trashy, and it's not a good feeling. So it'll be nice just to have some retribution for them. Let them sing their songs, the original members, the way that it was recorded, it's supposed to, and let them go on tour and make their money that they didn't get from what they were supposed to get, and make it right.
That is fair. I mean, I'm here for it. I would want to see it. I would want to be a part of it.
Yes.
I bet you they won't do Bugaboo or Nasty
or
Girl.
Survivor.
Yeah. I mean, they could still do Survivor.
No. That was shots fired at those two girls.
I mean, it absolutely was.
And I wouldn't be comfortable singing that.
I wouldn't
it was
blog about
me.
you on the internet.
Yes. Yeah, we ain't doing all that.
So we will see. Well, let me get to some other news at the VMAs that we have to mention. So I don't know if you guys saw, and we can talk about Suki later. We've talked about her certainly before, and her behavior. She was on all fours on the black carpet, I believe it was, prior to the awards, doing a lot. And, we are here for you to be sexually free and explore all aspects of yourself. But decorum is still a requirement, I think. However, I do think that this was pretty funny. So Delicious from Flavor of Love left a comment on Suki's video where she was, doing all of that, talking about it. And Delicious said, "Too many outside shoes been on that carpet, boo." Basically saying you might want to get up because it's dirty. And Suki responded back, "Girl, you was sleeping with Flavor Flav. You ain't worried about nothing." Boop. So I just thought I'd share that because I thought that it was a read down and and a very that was a sharp response to the shade. I was poignant. Like, oh, touche. Touche.
Wow.
I also thought that this was interesting. So we talked about Victoria Monet a few weeks ago, right? And On My Mama, her new single. And we know that Victoria has written for a number of people, right? But she just recently had her first charting single, right? With On My Mama. And some fans were asking why she wasn't performing at the VMAs. And her response was, "I see you advocating for me to have performed tonight, and I'm so grateful to you. Sincerely, my team was told it's too early in my story for that opportunity, so we will keep working. I'm grateful for you for my tour starting this Friday and the ability to see some of my favorite people perform and receive the love that they so deserve. For me, it's part of the story, and it's in God's time. When we come forward, I will get your reaction to that because some people were upset. But I feel like I understand, maybe not agree with all of it, but understand MTV's positioning and the reason why it was put like that. We'll get into that when we come forward. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and Sports is up next. 5 in the morning. Sex with
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden is announcing a series of new actions as part of his goal to end cancer. While meeting with members of his cabinet, Biden announced a $240 million funding boost for research projects to help improve cancer and prevention treatment. The president has set a goal to cut U.S. cancer deaths in half over the next 25 years. Meanwhile, Amazon is pledging millions of dollars for affordable homeowner projects across the U.S. $40 million in grants and loans expands the online retail giant's Housing Equity Fund. The money will go to nonprofit National Housing Trust, which will then provide loans to 3 nonprofits working on home ownership in the Seattle region, along with others in Washington, D.C. and Nashville, Tennessee. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Don't let a traffic accident ruin your day. Visit fixautousa.com to find the nearest Fix Auto location. Their highly trained and certified technicians will have you back on the road in no time. You have a choice on who fixes your vehicle. Tell your insurance agent that you want to go to Fix Auto.
Gotta stay fresh, ma. Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, Tavis Smiley here. I know you've been hearing the promo over and over again about our event this Saturday, about contracts and how you can get in the contract pipeline. Just want to remind you, it is this Saturday. Space is limited. Here's Dion Rambo to tell you more about what you can expect this Saturday.
Yo, what's up? This is Rambo, and again, you know the three words, contracts. This Saturday, there's one place you have to go right now, KBLA1580.com. If you want to see us talk about contracts, talk about grants, you got Caltrans who made all this possible. I'm super excited. You guys all know Rambo's been in the community fighting for you. Now, we got Tavis fighting alongside. This is huge. KBLA1580.com this Saturday. See you guys.
If you're a veteran with a service-connected disability that is directly impacting your ability to work, resources are available to help you find employment. VA's Veteran Readiness and Employment, or VR&E, can assist you with finding a job that uses your existing skills. Or, if you're interested in exploring a new field, a VR&E counselor can help you determine the right education or training options for a new career. Find out if VR&E is right for you by visiting va.gov/VRE today.
The Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center proudly presents its 25th annual Real Black Men Short Film Showcase, September 22nd through September 24th. Join us for the opening night celebration on Friday, September 22nd, and enjoy the short film showcase featuring 47 films by emerging black male directors from across the country. Continuing on Saturday, September 23rd and Sunday, September 24th. All events will be held at the Regal LA Live Cinemas, 1000 West Olympic Boulevard in downtown Los Angeles. For more information and tickets, visit bherc.org. That's bherc.org or call 323-957-4656. That's 323-957-4656. Don't miss your chance to celebrate excellence in black cinema all weekend long at the Real Black Men Short Film Showcase. See you there.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried New Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
get exotic with the melodic tune. I get hypnotic with the moon, but you got to put me down soon. I flip a sideshow if you come my way. Up, down, in and out, even sideways. I'm about as ready as the light can get. We can go all out. I'm not afraid of the sweat, but yet I bet you got the techniques to freak a girl inside out.
What's that all about?
Can I have some?
To my knowledge, from what was that? 95, 94? When did this drop? Shout out to Andy, always on point. The I Wanna Be Down remix. Come on, Light. Make you wanna ask.
Where the hell you been? I like the way you be
With all that personality, but I got flavor too. You need to get with me. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Can you tell at one point in time I thought I should be a rapper, a DJ?
Yes.
An R&B star?
Yes. It just happened right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. I love it all aspects of performance. And I love a good song. So I'm going to get into it and give you this chair karaoke dance fusion. So before we came forward, I mentioned Victoria Monet and her response to what MTV allegedly said to her when her people inquired about her being able to participate in some form or fashion in the VMAs. And the interesting thing is, though I think the VMAs used to be, in theory, to show off upcoming acts alongside the superstars, but introduce you to those new things and point you in that direction. I don't believe that is what it is there for anymore. And I also believe it's very, very pop. And I don't think Victoria Monet, who I love, her shows are crazy. So this is no shade, but I don't think she fits in with what they have going on.
No.
Well, I was going to ask you what your thoughts.
This is the world of Taylor Swift. This is the world of Ice Spice.
Okay.
Yes, not any R&B stars. It's the world of Megan. It's the world of the Nickies, not anybody who's trying to sing or anything like that.
What'd you think about Nicki's hosting and performance?
I didn't watch the VMAs.
Oh, that's right.
I was on the plane. I didn't even watch the clips because I am aged out of the VMAs.
The music's just not for you.
Well, I like the pictures, I can't really take Ice Spice serious. Every time I look at that girl, I just see Beavis in my mind.
I'm telling you, her reaction every time Taylor Swift tried to share and have a moment with her was hilarious.
I was just watching that on my phone, and the meme that came behind it was SpongeBob in a theater.
Oh, wow.
They're always turning Ice Spice into some type of cartoon, and it's crazy to me, and it's hilarious. So that is my interaction with the VMAs. I knew that NSYNC was there and all that, but I'm not watching that.
You're not watching that.
Mm-mm.
I also thought it was interesting that when Taylor Swift got super excited when NSYNC came out and Ice Spice didn't understand. Like,
right.
She didn't seem to have a reference of NSYNC.
She didn't.
That.
It just lets you know right there. Yeah. And maybe she does have a reference, but it's like, well, maybe she doesn't because she's like, what, 12 or something like that?
Ice Spice is what, 22, 23? Do we know? Oh, we'll find out for you in a second.
Yeah, I forgot that she was probably like born at like the height of her mom knows who NSYNC is.
Probably. Yeah, she's 23. So
she
was born in 2000.
So she has no reference, and because Taylor Swift is who she is, of course she knows who NSYNC is.
Well, Taylor Swift is 33, I think.
Yeah.
So, she would have been.
But it's also her demographic. Yeah.
That's fair. So, listen, in the Cats, some of the conversation, Pretty Brown Mimi is asking if Fair is going to join the Destiny's Child reunion.
Not.
You know not.
Beyonce
didn't even name her.
Beyonce sent that girl her luggage. Somebody sent them to you. You can't come back.
That MTV interview, that is a classic one. Pretty Brown Mimi also says Justin can sing, but he's like Taylor Swift, just talented but boring. I'm not going to call either one of them boring per se. I can say that they may not,
Taylor
everything
Swift
may not be for them.
Is a little boring.
I think, listen, I like that Bad Blood song. Didn't she have a song called Temptation or something like that? I don't know. There's a couple of cuts, not like Ponytail. She's not Ariana, okay?
No. Now that girl right there, I love her.
So I like Ariana.
Yes.
I listen to those albums. But
Yes.
Taylor, there have been, I'm not going to be the type of person that's just because it is not my thing that it is not a thing.
Yeah, I
mean,
I know who she is. I'm not gonna hate on the girl, but it's like it's not for me. I can get with Ariana Grande. I can probably even get with Little Adele, but not Taylor Swift. It's like I'm not a young preteen girl.
I am curious. I'm going to watch her concert movie because I've heard so much about it and how incredible it was. So I just want to, check it out to be able to give an honest opinion.
Sure.
I like
get
production.
that.
I like staging, so want to do that. Pretty Brown Mimi also says, can we get back to some of us being classy black women again? I mean, there is conversation around Suki and some of the other, Megan Cardi's new song. Obviously, it's about, shaking what mama gave you and working those pieces. And there are people questioning, can we talk about anything else? We've had this conversation. People don't always make the same demands of male rappers, but they do ask those questions. I mean, we'll see. I think they have made other songs, but,
I mean, when you come from a world of stripping, what else do you talk about?
Megan doesn't. Megan comes
Well, not
from...
Megan, but, I mean, she's adjacent. She hangs out in the clubs. She
I mean,
parties.
but see, here's the thing. I think that is... I don't think it's because they come from the world. Well,
and I also
Megan.
think that in her particular case, not to say that she's a troll per se, but I think that she definitely knows how to market herself in a way that is a little bit opposite from who she actually is. Because we have to think about it. She's low key. She's taking the time out to go to school and graduate. She's made it, very clear about, business, goals and things outside of rap. So I think a lot of it is her personality, but I think that there's another side that that is closer to who she is that she can't really showcase right now.
So here's the thing about that, because I feel you with that and I understand, but I also think at the same time, people sometimes can't respect, and I'm not saying you, just in general, the duality of someone. Like, just because you are smart or educated or know your way around an accounting spreadsheet, I'm just being facetious in saying that, doesn't mean that you don't like to throw that booty in a circle every now and again. And it's not an indictment of who you are as a person. Megan is only 25
or something like that, I think,
or something like that. So I feel as though, what do you want to do in your 20s? You want to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a catch-22. Cardi's only 33 or something like that.
It is, and I'm even thinking about myself, because you said 20s. I was like, well, what was I doing in my 20s? I was like, I was writing books and going on a book tour in my 20s.
But while you were doing that, did you party at all?
Listen, they knew me at the Abbey. $700 every time I went in there.
So,
Nuts.
I mean, exactly. Yeah. So I'm saying I think there's a duality that happens and a natural growing up process that we are sort of stifling in people right now because we want them to be adult and perfect straight out the gate. And there's not a lot of room for that growth because so much of it is on blast and out in social media. When we come forward, I will get your thoughts on that. We'll talk more VMAs stuff, and we'll get into, Chris Brown, Selena Gomez, all of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
I'm Dominique DePrima. We can all fall into the trap of mindlessly spending sometimes. I know I do it. But one tip for staying on track is when you have an impromptu purchase that comes up, try making a habit of taking a quick look at your bank account balance before you buy it. It's not just about seeing how much you have in your checking account. Just looking at your account might put the urge to make that impulse purchase into perspective and help you make better choices that'll benefit you for the long term. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So in our conversation surrounding the MTV VMA Awards, we often ask this, is it just an excuse for us to see fashion and look at some of the current artists? Because do you really care about what the VMAs are talking about? I know Taylor Swift won a great deal of awards. We know that allegedly Cardi and Megan both cut out early, didn't stay for the entire ceremony that Nicki was hosting. There was conversation that Nicki's husband may have been sending out subliminal threats, with some Instagram videos. We don't really know. Cardi tweeted something about, I didn't even flinch. Seemingly, people thought she was subbing back to Kenneth, and, they're having conversation. There were remarks about how much security she had with her, as if she shouldn't have a lot of security with her, But is it even really relevant? Like, are we squeezing blood out of a turnip at this point?
I don't think it's relevant, but I don't think we're squeezing blood out of a turnip either. I think that we should be very much aware of some of these nuances that these stars have with each other, because it's like a paper trail. It's like, little drops, like, dropping little crumbs, and it's going to lead up to something. It's going to explode one day. So it might not be anything now, but a year from now, 2 years from now, remember that time at the VMAs, boo? It's going to come back up. We're going to remember it.
I think that's what's going to happen with Megan and Justin. Anyway, I'm just playing.
Or somebody.
So, yeah, I'm really kidding about this.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
So, speaking of Cardi and Offset is morphing into Michael Jackson Light. I think that's an interesting transition for him. I'm not mad at it, though. I like the performance aspect. I'm not mad that you're getting your little military thing on. And I think...
Well, he was a background dancer in that video when he was a kid, right? In Whitney Houston's video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's always been a...
No, he has always been a performer.
A dancer.
But I think he's really... What was it, a couple years ago? Maybe it was a BET Awards performance that he really stepped into it. So... I don't know. I like it.
I like it too. I mean, MC Hammer danced.
Listen.
And performed.
He sure did. But people.
I think more rappers should do it, actually.
I do too, if they have the chops for it.
Yeah.
Hammer was also called a sellout, but that's another conversation for another day. He was, at the time, people did not saying he was a sellout. People were saying that he was a sellout because of that Pepsi commercial.
And then he responded with Pumps in the Bump,
which was my jam.
And then he also responded with what's the other one? The funky when he was
the Funky Headhunter.
When he came out thugged out, but he had that one last
he had
single.
on the sweatsuit.
Yeah. He was like, "I'm from Oakland. Don't ever try me."
And you saw the real Hammer.
Yeah.
So what did you think about Cardi and Offset's little video? That was, you guys can go to Instagram.
It was
Twitter,
fun.
whatever.
It was of the times. They know how to, get a trolling going.
See, here's my thing. I get why people are upset. We're over-sexualized, blah, blah, blah. But one thing that I think that people don't take into account is that they are husband and wife.
Yes.
And I like that they make marriage, problems and drama aside, look fun. And like they enjoy each other's company.
They're young.
Legitimately.
They're in love. Leave them alone, because if you had the same thing, listen. Let me. I'm not even gonna say nothing.
No say.
Yeah, because you know what? It's the same people that ain't got nobody to post up with on the gram that's making a complaint and saying something. Get somebody to post up with on the gram. You be doing it too. Mind your business and stop being a sourpuss.
I mean, I feel you on that.
Stop being crazy.
Being bitter. They unhappy.
Yeah.
They don't want to see no happiness.
She got her teeth done. She done up and she ready and she's look. Leave the girl alone.
Be happy, baby. I like that.
And do you.
So
it was very on brand for them.
It was. So also last night at the VMAs, Selena Gomez got caught by the camera making a little frowny face when Chris Brown's what's wrong?
She looks like something, but
she was making a little frowny face when Chris Brown's name was mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just feel like Rihanna, much like we talked about with Justin, Rihanna has forgiven him. She did a song, dated him for a second. She's moved on, 2 kids, happy. He has a gaggle of children.
I've been moved on from the situation. Look.
Why do we still? Do you feel like, because one, I'm sorry, Trent, did I interrupt you?
No, I just have a very unpopular opinion about what happened in the car that night, and I don't. Let me just preface it with, I don't condone violence against women. Okay.
You're referencing, you believe,
yes.
that they were volatile.
They
had a volatile relationship.
They were both volatile and both equally as passionate and aggressive in the situation. So I believe both of them were at fault. And I moved on from it. Like, I think everybody else should too. Like, forgive that man. Stop villainizing. It's like 20 years at this point or something like that. Like, move on. It's old.
I do think that I understand people want accountability, and we're in a different time, and they're trying to hold things down.
But you have to think about
and blah,
it.
Blah, blah.
He has not been able to recover from that, no matter how hard he's tried. And even though he's kept himself in a mess of trouble, and it just follows him wherever he goes, he can't live it down, no matter what he does.
Andy?
I think the culture has forgiven Chris Brown a long, long, long time ago. I think it's those of another persuasion for some reason that's holding on to that.
So let me say this. I agree with you for the most part. However, there is just there's a lot of black women, like women were mad that Chloe just did that single with him and was like, how dare you? Why would you do that? And those type of things.
They was mad at Chloe for that scene in Swarm.
They were.
They mad at her for, she's the next person to come on down and be the contestant on The Price is Right. They mad at her for everything.
I actually think it's going to be Haley, but for a different reason. But we'll talk about that when it happens. I do believe, though, that it is just the idea of wanting to have a voice, speak on it. I think there's a lot of projection in the situation with Chris from, whatever perspective they may be sitting in. But I don't understand the I guess the idea is it's an overcorrection because they feel like in the past, men that were abusive got away with it and were just forgiven. If you think about, I'm going to go James Brown, all the way back to the 50s and 60s. We're going to go Al Green, with accusations. So I'm not just going to say hip hop. I'm just going to say across the board. Jim Brown.
I was about to say Jim Brown, yeah.
I mean, the thoughts are, I guess people don't feel that these men are being held accountable. But I also feel like at the same time, you have to leave room for growth with everyone, men and women, and I believe that people are holding individuals accountable in a way that they don't hold themselves to.
That part.
Andy?
I'm curious to know what what more accountability do you want from Chris Brown? If I remember correctly, I don't know if he was scheduled for the BET Awards, but BET was like, you know what, Chris Brown, you're not invited. Yep. And then it might have been the following year or the year after that where Chris Brown was finally invited. He won an award, and he was crying tears.
He did the Michael Jackson tribute, I believe, that year.
You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like that right there, he felt whatever pain or whatever, you know what I'm saying, criticism from everybody. Now, when's the last time you heard of a scandal in that realm?
With Chris?
With Chris Brown.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah,
there's been a lot.
Oh,
no.
There was one this year where he took a girl hostage.
I mean, there's been a lot. I don't think that Chris always makes the best decisions necessarily. However,
I've been living under a rock.
I do think that there are some times where people have tried to set him up to get him in a situation to capitalize off of his past. I do think that people go in knowing some of this stuff and try and, move the pieces around the board to benefit and things of that nature. So I think that, we have to allow for growth. People are going to mess up. They're going to make mistakes, some of them terrible. And you may not be able to forgive them for it, but I think that it is a little short-sighted to think that these people aren't going to enter back into society and they should be shunned forever. Where are they supposed to go?
Back home. They wanted Chris. They're not going to be satisfied till he is canceled. They wanted that man canceled so bad, and it never happened. So that's why they're still gunning for him.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Tory Lanez suffers the same fate.
No guidance didn't resurrect him.
Here's the thing. Chris has a strong fan base, and he has a loyal fan base and a dedicated fan base. But equally given, I think that there is a certain version of women, and if we're talking black women, sort of black feminists to a degree, that don't necessarily rock with the forgiveness aspect, or they think if you do, you're being a pick-me or something of that nature. When we come forward, we will play Chris's comments from his interview with Shannon Sharp, hour 2. We still got that heat. We have more topics. Are unattractive people overconfident in their looks? It's a study. We're going to get into that and more.
Think about that.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Rich, now his pockets looking straight. Slam the D's on the benzo, pancake by the gate. Mom's looking straight with her half, she got great. Lounging in her new home, that's about the state. I'll be your cornmeal, won't tell. You can get it when you want it, even though you got chicks all up on it. Don't matter, cause brother, you fly. I can't lie. I've been macking daddy from the corner of my eye. Now, baby, bring it on. Don't be frontin' on your baby boo. All I wanna know is what's up with you. How can I get with you?